街中に持ったレッドめ黒いサムライ怒りを叫べ悲しみを叫べ魂を叫べ今ここで叫べ
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Yokai Delinquents podcast. And if you are hearing this episode, you must have joined our Tier 3 Patreon because you will now get to hear Jerry speak on this episode. I am Sean, Bearded Kappa Litton.
And I am Jerry Robo Tengu Smith. Funny, there's been a lot of rumors going around about what happened. That episode was an April Fool's joke. Were we actually charging people to hear the other side of the audio? The real answer is it was obviously sabotage from John because we haven't had him in the episode long enough. So we brought him in this one so we could have our audio.
Yeah, he did the elite hacks and hacksaws, and that's totally what happened. Why you couldn't hear Jerry on that long lovely episode. But yes, right. We have our good buddy John. John, why don't you say hi to everybody?
Hello, everybody. Yep.
Okay, shut the fuck up, John. That's it. We're done.
Damn. That's fair. Okay. but yeah, Jonathan Komenu Cook.
Yeah. And if any of y'all tuned in last week, you heard a very one-sided discussion about Monster Hunter. That is no longer available anywhere except my computer hard drive because I deleted those episodes off.
Listen. Oh. I'm just saying you could have sent the audio to me. I could have played it and recorded it back and made all the responses make sense from my end and added my audio.
Jerry,
it would have been a weird conversation and it may have made you look a little bad, but it's okay. We figured it out.
That'll be like rare lost footage.
Well,
it could be a challenge to our listeners. Take this episode and turn it into whatever the fuck you want that makes it make sense on your end.
Yeah. So what we got today is we're gonna call it Monster Hunter Rise Revisited +1 for
yeah.
So bringing in John, who you jumped on the game as well when it came out, and honestly, Indeed. This is the trio. This is this is the three amigos, the three musketeers for Monster Hunter for me, because as we talked about in the past, that Monster Hunter, especially the older games, had the higher learning curve. Especially for me, if it wasn't for you two, I would definitely not be playing today. So it was Jerry and John out there who got me hooked in. We were tearing up those 3DSs playing Monster Hunter for you. So
well, it all kind of goes around in this big circle, right? Because I think the whole reason why we started it is because you brought up fucking Phantasy Star episode 1 and 2,
right? And
we started playing that over at John's house on GameCube.
Right.
And for those of you that are like, oh man, that's awesome, thinking that we were teenagers and stuff and this happened back when that game came out, that is false. It was actually only a few years ago when Sean was like, hey, let's go on a nostalgia trip and bust out the GameCube and Phantasy Star. So we did that for a while and we were like, man, what other really fun co-op games like this can we do? And I kind of brought up I played Monster Hunter, the first one on PS2, but never really played with people, and it's supposed to be a really fun, 4-player thing where you go and hunt monsters and stuff. And we all just kind of got 4 Ultimate as soon as it came out. I fucking bought a 3DS just for that fucking game. And then it just, as fate would have it, we got snowed in for almost an entire week as soon as it came out and just played the shit out of that game the whole time.
Yeah, that was a good time.
Yeah. Those were the good old days. And now, and we've all dipped in and out from playing from 4 to GU and World. And now we're on Rise, the newest Monster Hunter game released, and like straight up, I love it. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been fantastic. And it's funny because yes, we did try to record an episode a week ago.
Yeah.
Kind of fell flat, and we like talked about stuff. But I think even since then, we've done even more in the game. So it's kind of almost nice because we can talk about like even more of it now. That we've kind of gotten to an endpoint before updates at this point. Yeah. So it's they've got a lot of new additions in this game. I figured we can maybe break those down, just like overall like strategies in the game, how we like to play and what all we like about this. If there's anything we want them to bring back in future iterations and stuff like that.
Right.
First off, man, big low point in this game is no pompadours yet. So I mean that's really the end game for me, is I'm gonna need you to add a pompadour, add a good pompadour, Capcom. I was going through layered armor before and looking at all the stuff they added, and they did have a sweet pomp in Iceborne, so fingers crossed that they bring that over to Rise.
Hopefully you get your hairstyle. We got the shaved around the sides with the high green spiked hair in the game. So I'm rocking my real life look. John, how closely? And I made my character identical to how I'm in real life.
Yeah, did you?
Yeah,
did you make 100%. Your character?
Yeah, 100%. I'm a strong.
I didn't realize you were such a babe.
I'm a strong, independent black woman that don't need no man. So basically, I made my wife with my haircut. That's basically what I made as my character in Monster Hunter.
Fair. Yeah, mine I made look nothing like me. So,
but like one thing I will say, I hope I will already jump into like what I would kind of hope for a future installment was even if it's DLC. Like you pay, and with today's society, I don't think it should be a pay option. Which I think most games that have the option of creating a character and picking your gender. I know some games, like World of Warcraft, you can change as you want, and they flat out addressed it as for the gender fluid out there. So like I think it would be kind of cool in Monster Hunter if you could switch your gender up whenever you want. Like okay, you got this new armor set, but like the male set looks a lot cooler. So when you're wearing that, you can just change over. And vice versa.
Yeah, that'd be really nice.
Because World offered tickets for like a one-time thing, and then I think you had to buy them, or maybe you could earn them. I don't remember now. But there was that one time, and that's when I was so tired of World's kind of generic male armor sets, and that's when I started playing female because they were a lot more creative, a lot more unique.
Yeah. So that's one of the things about when I'm always making new armors and stuff, is that I always wonder how it'll look on a female opposed to the male.
Yeah.
No way for me really go and check other than making a whole new character and playing through again.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That was kind of one of my things. I can't remember what I was playing not too long ago. I think whenever we were playing some Red Dead, Steph was doing a bunch of outfits and stuff, and I'm like, damn it, this outfit looks way cooler on you than it does on me. And it's kind of like spanned over to Final Fantasy too, because a lot of stuff I've noticed they sort of try to keep as close together as possible.
Right.
But then there's the obvious ones that's like a really big like difference. But yeah, no, I really dig that they have that, and also like because Steph and I actually we did Generations Ultimate not too long ago, so it's more fresh on my mind than World. And one of my biggest issues with that is just how big the armor looked on you. Like it looked like it didn't really fit right. Yeah, and it seems like it's a lot like more sleek in these games. Like it actually looks good, except for the Renopolis gear that I had to wear. But the good thing about that is, and I'm really glad that they added this feature, is you could go in and you could basically make any of your armor invisible, so you're just in your underclothes. Or they also have, if you pre-ordered it, they have layered armor that you could put over it, and you could like change the color and stuff of that. And then if you have the Magnamalo amiibo, you could also get that layered armor. And I've seen it, and it looks freaking sick. Like it's not Magnamalo armor, but it is obviously based off of it. It's just more like almost like ninja-esque. It's like a
Right.
sleeker version than the heavy samurai armor that they have in the game. But yeah, just design wise, with how you do your character and everything's really cool. And I can't wait to see how much they bring over from Rise, because I've been looking through all of the layered armors, and you can actually get layered armor for every set. So I think it's once you get to G rank, it's basically like a glamour option, like they have in most MMO games, where you can make your armor set look like any other armor in the game and stuff like that. So I highly look forward to that.
Yeah, it's been really cool, especially like not only do you have the layered armor set, which I want to say they kind of some other games have had that kind of thing before, but generally it was okay. You equip that set, it's just one thing. But in Rise, you can just put on the hat if you don't like the helm of your real armor.
Hmm.
You could just have the
Hmm.
chest piece or just the boots. You know, you could or like you said, erase them completely. So character customization
Hmm.
on this game is really good, I think. And of course, when you
Yeah.
hit high rank
Sure.
and beat the game, as quote unquote beat the game, now you can also
Right.
then go into two layers of color changes for the most part. Not like the entire armor, but you
Right.
a lot of customization in there. But
Hmm.
so like yeah, the appearance thing, the character creation is really cool. But the big thing about Rise was like the wire bug, and the wire bug
Oh
I know
yes.
has changed a lot of weapons, a lot of strategies. Like John, like I'm trying to remember. Like you've always been a big fan of the hunting horn. Do you think like the wire bug really add to that, or did they really? Because I noticed you were playing that pretty early on, or again.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I've been pretty much mainly the hunting horn, like you said. It's added some interesting things to it. I don't think the play for it has changed dramatically, as opposed to probably like the great sword or something.
Right.
But it's
Hmm.
added some pretty cool attacks for it, and some of the mechanics just for the hunting horn in general have changed. The like playing the melodies, they made it a lot more fluid and easier to get the melodies out to put on your teammates and support them.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so I've been having a lot of fun with the hunting.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting because I notice like sometimes you'll, really want to go for the hunting horn and everything, and just, I mean, pretty much how they do it in some of the games where they like, don't have it as accessible as it normally is. You'll usually go off to a different weapon like before, too long.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's nice to see like how many changes and updates they've did for so many weapons, and how well they've updated them and made it to where it's like, I haven't seen a single weapon that, because usually you have those people that are like, man, they really like fucked up this weapon in the game and stuff, and it hasn't really been a thing in this game that I've seen. It seems like people have really been liking a lot of the stuff that they've put into it. A lot of the changes have been really good. So it's been really good.
Yeah. Like
Really enjoy that.
I said, my main has been sword and shield for the longest. Even though when we first started, I went straight to the great sword. And that's become
Hmm.
my secondary. Now, like they haven't changed either weapon as far as their basic. Like great sword pretty much plays exactly as it did in World, which is as far as like
Hmm.
kind of the charge up combos, which is great.
Hmm.
It improved. It made it a lot more. No, a little more variety than just you charge up to your strongest attack, swing at one time, and nothing to it. The little cartwheel attack it
Hmm.
just adds a bit more to it. But now
Right.
with the wire bug, like being able to Spider-Man up above the monster to drop down with a charge attack, and just to get you into the fight easier, has
Hmm.
really made
yeah,
it uh, a lot more like mobile. So like great sword users, like if y'all have stopped messing with it because it's such a slow prod weapon, and I think that goes for generally for a lot of the heavy weapons that slow you down.
Hmm.
So wire bugs really improve them, and now and sword and shield, it's always been a versatile weapon. It has blunt damage and sharp damage as well. But now, like these wire bug attacks, just made it into like almost dual blade level buzzsaw. If you pick that one, the wire cutter. That I know y'all see me use all the time because that's one of the best aims for my
Hmm.
sleep sword. The more hits, the more chances to knock them out. So yeah,
oh yeah,
so
Yeah.
I mean, and I haven't explored every weapon, but it's been they've continually now kind of taken what World did to make a lot of the quality of life changes that this make because Monster Hunter always been notoriously difficult learning curve to get in.
Mm-hmm.
And World streamlined a lot of that. It made it a lot more user friendly, which still has though the difficulty and like I tell people like who are like, man, I've seen Monster Hunter, it looks really cool. Like you're just hacking up the monsters. I'm like, I gotta clarify, it's not hack and slash in that general sense. You're not just mashing A and doing all these amazing combos. I've always called it like strategy hack and slash.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to like go in and just start going wild with your attacks and everything. There has to be some kind of like order to the chaos for sure.
Yeah, don't run in button mashing.
Right. Like dual blades is probably the closest you'll get to that. But even then, if you're just mashing away and not paying attention and not watching your stamina, like you'll still not do well. So
yeah,
it's 100% like I said, a strategy hack. Because in the end, you are still just bashing the shit out of creatures. But they ain't just blind mashing a button and everything. And but I think like these wire bug attacks, you add another layer, which makes some weapons more accessible and makes the ones that were already kind of like quick to use, like the sword and shield, made them into just this ungodly more levels or more levels of even more levels to it. I guess words are tough. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
But even more levels into what was already a pretty intricate weapon.
Yeah, it's and that's a huge thing is like just the versatility for it and everything, maneuverability. I do gun lance for my main, and it is like ridiculously fun to use in this game just because of the mobility and everything in it. And then like they used switch styles and all that stuff, and it's just so much fun. And then another thing that because mobility seems to be like the big key factor in this game.
Right.
It's like one of the very high points. And one of the things about the mobility, one of the another big thing that they added to it is your palamute, right? So other than just having a cat companion, you now have a dog companion. That you do about the same you get gear for. You can send it out on like trading missions and stuff like that. But it's added a whole nother like functionality to the game in that sense, and I think that's been like a lot of fun working with like palamutes and stuff like that. What do you guys think of those? Those have been pretty fun.
Like we'd talked about like like in almost every Monster Hunter game add something new that can sometimes make it more difficult to go back to the older ones, even though there's unique stuff in each game. So sometimes you want to I want to go back and experience that. The palamutes have spoiled the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Like
in a big way.
Yeah, even if because Rise plays a lot like World. It's like the next step from World. So going back to World overall won't feel different. But I'm gonna miss riding my good boy doggo. If we ever go back and start playing that again.
Yeah. I definitely feel that.
Yeah, those things are amazing. Being able to just ride them to different areas and sharpen while you're on your way there.
Oh, I know. Like just the amount of things that you can do while riding the palamute is just changes the game up so much. Because before it was like, oh god, I'm sharpening and I can't move while I'm doing it, so I hope the monster doesn't attack me. But now you could just jump on your dog and go do that, or you can heal or eat or whatever you need to do. And you could easily go from like just walking to your dog to jumping off of the dog and jumping through the air and attacking the monster and everything. It's very smooth and flows very, very well in the game.
Yeah. I love them so much.
Yeah, and that's like even in the game itself, like I do miss my 2 Palico team because I would always have one like doing support, the other one doing healing. And I'm like, okay, like I like my dog, all that, but I kind of like some hunts, especially solo, when I'm don't have no one else is on. Like, okay, I want to run the double Palico again, so I can have all these buffs and traps and extra stuff to help me out. And I'm like, hey, I can Spider-Man through the level. I can go to sub camps to kind of speed it up. But even just there, and I'm like, it's like that when you have a scooter to get around town, all of a sudden you got to walk to the store though. It's like, oh, It's like I'm walking like a fucking peasant. You know what I mean? I was like, yeah, no, I'm gonna stick with my one cat, one dog, or just one dog in multiplayer. Because
Right, right.
Yep.
it is a not only was it a quality of life improvement, it's just a spoil your ass improvement because
Yeah.
yeah, it's hard not to want to ride the dog when you need to, because again, like you said, not only is it travel, but even in battles, like you don't want to just sit there static while you're sharpening your blade when you
Hmm.
can just hop on your dog and you're not moving as fast, but at least you can move and not get hit while you need to
Yeah.
sharpen. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's been a major addition into the franchise, I think, and one that I hope doesn't go away in future sequels because it's gonna be really hard to see them how they can improve on that or replace that with something.
Yeah.
Right.
It's been great, and like we said, the just being able to like have a whole nother like gear set that you could look into and everything was really cool.
Yeah.
Um, but and kind of just going out of the Palamutes and everything. The new monsters in the game
Yes.
are very cool. I thought I had a list pulled up, but I didn't. So you guys keep talking, and I'll
Right.
look for that.
But yeah. So we'll get into the
Professional
monsters.
podcast.
Right.
Don't add us.
Right. So, but yeah, we'll get into the monsters though in a second. As soon as Jerry's got the full on list. But with the like I said, the addition of the pets, which and of course getting gear for them, like legit. Like an old strategy was always to give your pets typically status or elemental kind of attacks to aid you to paralyze, sleep, or kind of thing. But like
Yeah.
now that we're end game, and I'm not going to get too deep into what the end game is, but like the last boss, I didn't really need any of the armor for the way I play,
Hmm.
so I immediately turned all that into scraps, and I armed up my Palico and Palamute, and
Hmm.
I've had a few battles where they got the final kill. Because it's
Really?
no kind of elemental or status attack. It's just some straight damage. That's the same for ranged or up close.
Hmm.
And like, yeah, it's like I've geared them up, and I'm like, wow, I don't need the help of like saying because these motherfuckers are hitting hard too.
Nice.
So gearing them up like that as well, and having, like I said, the different styles of attacks from like when you're a single player and you have both of them. Even then, what's cool now too is remember in the old games, when you had even I think even if it's just two player, maybe or no three or more, you wouldn't
Hmm.
have any companion at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now, with that improvement of Rise, 4 players, typically 4 dogs.
Hmm.
That's a hell of a hunting party.
Yeah. It gets busy.
Yeah, it is so chaotic around monsters now.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good, like I know occasionally,
Yeah.
of course. And when you play like me, I use that sleep bomb technique where you want to put the monster to sleep and don't hit it until you can set up some bombs because the first hit when they're asleep is double damage. And yeah, when you got 4 players, it was already tough enough. Someone's not noticing the sleep animation, they keep on hitting it, or they're in the middle of a combo, you can't really stop it. So factor that on top of 4 fucking dogs just computer control going at it. So
Yeah,
some
we've had.
strategy. Yeah, was that?
I was just gonna say, yeah, we've had a bunch of times where the dogs would interrupt and wake the
Yeah.
monster up, like you were saying, and
Yeah, and it happens, and that's typically
yeah,
why I switch over to my great sword when we get a full party going, because yeah, it is
yeah,
chaotic, but man, like there's some times where like there's so much when you have a 4 player team with 4 dogs, you just feel bad for the monster.
oh right,
There've been some where it's just you got it, on the ground, stunned, and just everyone's laying into it. You're like, oh my god, we're the real monsters.
Yeah. So speaking about said monsters,
Yeah.
I have a list.
Okay.
It's in alphabetical order, so it's not
do
going to be
you?
as great that first time we recorded.
Well, no one heard you anyway, so.
Yeah, I know. Such a shame. Okay, so I'll go through the new monsters instead of just listing the entire roster of monsters for this one.
Right.
And if there's any that you guys want to give a mention to that you're glad that it's returning, feel free to do that. So first off, we've got the Agnesom. It's a bird type monster, and it does fire damage. It also, like, we have a lot of like yokai stuff into that, which appeals to us.
Yeah, a
and
little bit.
Yeah. So the Agnesam is actually based off of the umbrella yokai. It kind of has like an umbrella theme where it's got this huge thing on its head that unfurls, and it's does a lot of spinny attacks on one leg. So it's kind of like a crane type thing.
Yeah, it's like the concept, of course, behind it is what's especially cool. Well, other than that, it's another typical kind of bird wyvern fight, but again, because it's based on that yokai, and when it is completely wrapped its plumage and feathers around itself, and you only see the one eye and hopping on the thing. Yeah, it's just very cool.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And then another new monster that they have is the Amoldron. It is a mud type wyvern. I honestly can compare this one the most to Mitsuzune. It's kind of like dirty Mitsuzune because it uses a lot of mud and stuff. But it also has some of those like underground attacks where it'll be halfway above ground and halfway underground. And it does a lot of like muck damage and does like muck pillars and stuff like that. It actually gets pretty epic like 2/3 through the fight. It'll jump like really far away from the party and then summon these humongous like just high-rise like pillars and stuff, and then it'll throw like damaging ones at you and stuff like that. It looks really cool whenever it does it because it just launches itself in the air.
That
so
one is actually like one of my favorites.
Oh, really? Man,
Yeah.
I fucking like hate that thing, and I think it's just
yeah,
100%.
Fuck that.
But to Sean and I's defense, we had to farm that with our friend Mike, and we farmed it for like what seemed like the entire day.
Yeah.
And then he was like, "Oh wait, I can get the item that I need from the low rank one." So after the entire day of us trying to cut this stupid thing's like tail to where the pieces came off and we can carve it. He realized that, went to low rank, and got it on the first shot. And I'm like, wow.
Like this.
Yeah,
but yeah.
I know I was gonna catch a little bit for that, but that one, I think it just adds such an interesting fight with like the mud pillars and the waves of mud. It's just such an interesting fight out of the two monsters.
No, you're wrong. You're 100% wrong. Now this one is like the others, kind of based on the more the koi fish, but like how it's supposed to be like a koi can become a dragon. And that's kind of like, it has almost I think more of a catfish kind of an appearance, but still.
Oh yeah.
That's what the mythology is kind of based around. But beyond all that, fuck this fucking mud creature.
Well,
I don't like mud creatures, period, because they're just annoying the shit to me. And he's more so because of like what you said, the half buried attacks.
Yeah.
You're wrong, John. You're wrong.
Another positive on this thing's side is the armor looks amazing. Like it's all like wild and cybernetic looking, and I really like putting it on my dog, just because it looks like it could just fucking turn into a fucking motorcycle and then just go off. Like it looks really cool.
I do hate how cool the armor and weapons look on a creature that I hate to hunt.
Yeah, and your Palico armor looks like a fucking Digimon. It looks so dope.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So let's see. Next up on this list, the Bishotten. Honestly, one of my personal favorites in this game, just because it's based off of Tengu, is a little weird that they gave it the like simian appearance and kind of moveset. Kind of has that like almost annoying quality that the Quetzalcoatl had going for it. And then it'll like throw fruit at you, and it has a lot of different stuff with that, like so it can poison, and it does flash bombs and stuff like that. And it has like a prehensile tail, so it could like latch onto the walls and stuff like that. So it's really interesting. Its armor's pretty cool, but again, like Monster Hunter, like why did it have to be like a simian type of monster? Like
and like it's clearly based on like what you had said before, like the lesser Tengu, the more raven, because that's what the armor looks like. So fingers crossed for G rank to have the more traditional humanoid Tengu.
Yeah,
maybe in the
to do
armor.
it like a Dai Tengu.
Yeah, but in the as far as its design, yeah, it's very Quechua, very simian.
Mm-hmm.
And weirdly enough, they also took that. What I was reading about is they took the legend of apparently a monkey did battle with a crab by throwing fruit at it. It's some Japanese legend, and that's an inspiration for why it throws fruit at us. But yeah, for a Tengu thing, you would think, and maybe they thought they had too many bird monsters already. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a weird interpretation of the Tengu, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's still overall a very fun fight.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it's not a knock on its design or anything. It looks really cool. Its armor's really cool. Not to mention, like, it's starting off, like, its armor has some of the best resistances in the game.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's like resistant to most stuff. The only thing that it isn't is, I believe, either fire or thunder. But other than that, like, it's a good armor set to build up whenever you first jump into the game, and high rank. I think it was one of the first things that I went after.
Yeah.
Because you really only need like a fire set after you have the set for this, and you have all your elemental resistances and stuff.
Okay.
The next one on my list, I think, is like easily a big fan favorite for people in this game, and it was kind of like one of those that I don't know if people like really knew what to think about it. I think they just thought it was badass. But Goss Harag is a big one that they popped up. It's like kind of that bear type, that they have with Azeroth, but like if he was like jacked up on fucking Mountain Dew and cocaine.
Right.
And it's really just like so cool. So it's sort of based off of the Oni, like ogre, ice ogre, fire ogre, red and blue ogre kind of tales, and because it'll start off blue and then it'll go into this like red form where it's like angry, and it turns like its arms, it makes ice weapons out of them, and it'll do like a sword and then a dual sword, and then when you're in high rank it does like a sword and a club. It's really just such a badass monster.
Yeah, it really is, and yeah, I said the legend behind it's cool. And like the first time I fought in low rank, like I don't know, I wasn't super impressed. But the more I've played it, because I started needing parts from him for weapons and armor, yeah, he's really grown on me. I think he's a really fun fight. He's a really cool design, and like he's popping those icebreakers gum to make his breath all cold enough to freeze up his arms. And, yeah, no, just overall a very cool creature. I really like him.
Yeah. So I've got these three, and I'm honestly not sure which one is from this game. I'm pretty sure at least one of them is, because they like to add a new raptor for the game. So they have the Great Baggy, the Great Azuchi, and Great Roggy. Do you guys know which one they added for this one? Because like, man, those always blend together for me. Or were any of them added in this game?
I honestly, unless I'm forgetting them from World. Now they're just kind of variations on other like previous Raptors,
right.
So they may be all new to this one.
Yeah,
but it's like the only one I can think of is maybe the Baggy, because his kind of pompadour horn looked familiar.
Yeah.
So beyond that, yeah, I think they're all fairly new. I mean, they're fine. They're the typical. You got the one poison, you got the one sleep. We've had 100 raptor or bird-like creatures that did the same thing. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, they're needed for my sleep set.
Yeah.
And you farm little parts, but nothing. I wouldn't say there's anything super unique or interesting about them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to say I think the Azuchi for sure is new. The other two might be as well. I think the cool thing about the Azuchi was that how it synchronizes its moves with the smaller versions too, with the little ones, and how if there's two more, they'll do the same moves as the big one at the same time.
I guess.
Yeah, it'll do that back up, and the other two will flank it, and it'll do that spin into you attack. And as soon as it does it, they both do it too. So you have to like keep guarding if there are multiples out.
Oh. I guess my buzzsaw attack just kills those little ones. I don't think I've ever
just
seen that
murders
happen.
everything.
Yeah, I don't think I ever noticed it.
Right, and I haven't seen that since like low rank. So
Yeah.
Most of the time you're just massacring them, and that's
Right.
Pretty much.
that. Let's see. I'm gonna skip that one. The next one is the Rachna Kadaki, which I think was a lot of people's like surprise hit fight, right?
Yeah.
Sean, is that it for you?
I hate how much I like this monster. It is a spider, as you can tell from the Rachna part of the first name. I'm not a fan of spiders, and we had the Nursala before, which was always it was a fine fight, but it never really did anything.
Yeah.
This thing is fucking disturbing, and is how it webs itself up to have like a draped cloth look around it. It constantly is having babies. It's shooting its tail at you to hit you backwards. And like I said, it's a horrendous giant nightmare spider, and I fucking love it. It's a fun fight. It's a great design, and makes cool looking armor. Even though I don't think I'm using any of it, it looks cool as shit. This is because it's a spider. It can't be one of my new favorites, but it is one of my new favorites. It's
really cool.
I'd say probably top 5.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really, really badass monster. Just the fact that it kind of has that whole like you got to break the armor on it before you could really do damage on it, and it like wraps itself in webs for that armor. And then it has like the smaller versions of it that'll crawl around on its body, and it'll like launch at you and then tether to it and pull itself, or like it'll web you up and stuff. And it's interesting because it's a spider with fire elements, so you can't kill it with fire, which is actually I'm pretty sure the name of the quest whenever you first fight it. Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, which is just great, and it'll like jump up on the ceiling and do just a giant fire spiral. Like it's really cool. Definitely a monster that I didn't expect to actually like fighting in the game.
Oh, for sure.
So the next one we got another new addition was the Somnicanth. And then the Somnicanth was honestly pretty neat. I didn't really know what to expect from it. I just knew, from trailers and stuff that the armor looked really cool on it.
Yeah.
But it is a sleep wyvern. And it kind of has like that same like long, sort of thin, cylindrical body that almost Mitsuzune, but smaller. And holy shit, this thing will fucking sleep you 24/7, more than Sean with his sleep bomb set.
Right.
Like,
well, I wouldn't,
it is ridiculous.
I wouldn't have a sleep bomb set without this one, especially a high rank. It is literally designed. All of its stats are for sleep bombing, and this is my favorite creature in the game because because my other one, which we'll get to here shortly, is a favorite just because of what it's based on. But this one,
right.
I love the design. Like I said, the very slender body, the drum stomach it has, like with the traditional Japanese taiko drum. Symbols on it that it breaks like a fucking otter to blind you. On top of it, it's a fun fight. It's got I don't know something about the long plumage. I don't know what else to call it. Like it's like almost like hair, but it's like a frill. I guess more a frill would be a better description. And it's based on the siren legend. The put sailors to sleep to drown them. And like honestly, like out of all the monsters, and there's plenty of monsters here. Like if they ever make like a really really good statue, this is like a day one purchase. It's a fun fight. As annoying as like status element fights usually are. This one is pretty creative, and I love like the AOE, the waves, even the beam. You know what I mean? Like, it's a fun fight. And like, and it was one of those at first I wasn't so sure, but as I needed to grind the armor set, like as with Monster Hunter does, the monsters will beat you until you love them. And this is definitely one for me for this game.
That's why one of my favorite monsters is the Tigrex.
That's an abusive relationship, Jerry.
It's just funny because I just keep expecting the Somnicanth to yell, "Pull the lever, Crunk," but it never happens. And I didn't realize you were such a fan of Yzma because that thing looks exactly like her.
Pull the
Yeah.
lever, wrong lever. Yeah, no,
Not
it's
concerned with whatever it was you people needed. What was it again? Food?
right. Yeah, no, that's actually a very good. I wonder if someone's ever put a side by side image of it's the same
Yeah,
picture.
I don't know. I'm doing it after this.
That's what the
though. It's
meme
gonna
of
be our
like it's
cover
the same
photo for the
picture
episode.
thing. Yeah, but no, it is.
No.
With the exception of the one I think is probably next in the alphabet.
Yeah.
It is my favorite monster that doesn't have the advantage of being what it is already.
So the next one is Tetranodon, which you know.
Yeah,
This is the first urgent that you get in the hub quests.
right.
And it is, I think it's actually, is it the first urgent in Village Quest too? Maybe
I
it
think
is.
so. It's one of the early. I think it is the first early because I know
Mhm.
it was. Yeah, actually, yeah. To go from 1 star to 2, I believe you had
Mhm.
to fight it because I remember it being my first farm. That was like
Right.
I need the entire set for reasons.
Yep, and it's a duck-billed turtle that's based off of the Kappa mythos.
Yes, it is the Japanese
Yeah.
turtle demon.
Mhm.
Yeah. Not only is that they went the extra mile because like not only is it just
Mhm.
it could have just been a giant turtle, that just
Yep.
bashes you, but they took the Zamtrios ability of inflating itself
Yep.
and sumo attacks because
Mhm.
in Japanese mythology, Kappa loves sumo. You can actually get out
Mhm.
of them killing you if you could beat them in a sumo match. It was like yeah. So him doing the stomp, hitting the belly, and of course, as I only just finally recently got to see it, the turf war with the bear and Azarus
Oh yeah.
is an
Yep.
actual sumo match where at one point he
Yep.
tries to swallow it whole.
Mhm.
So great.
So
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a fun fight. It's a kappa. So, like I said, Samokath gets it for just being itself, but I have to say Tetranodon is my favorite for being a kappa.
Yeah.
Were
Yeah.
you
No, it's awesome.
were you crying the whole time you had to kill it?
Look, man, look, I'm not gonna say I was super sad, but when people like you see people get like crying while eating a cookie because they're happy and sad at the same time, it's the same thing. Like I'm so sad, but I can't wait to wear you.
He was definitely sniffling a lot. The
Yep.
armor for it looks pretty cool too. It's very fucking huge.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
you,
you get a lot of plates and stuff.
yeah, like the female
Very bulky.
version that I have is very like his bulky shoulder pads, but the rest
Mhm.
isn't like super huge. But it also has
Mhm.
that ghillie suit kind of
Yeah.
to be like kind of the grass skirt that kappas are depicted usually having. So it also kind of
Mhm.
gives a like a jungle theme or a swamp
Mhm.
like armor. Is very cool looking. And yeah, that was my first
nice.
farm,
Yeah.
and I made sure I had enough for that for myself and to make scraps for my Palamute and my Palico.
Yeah, and that's like the really cool thing because you're like, oh man, I made stuff for myself and now I got to make it for my pets and stuff, so we're all matching. And like while you make stuff, you get scraps for it. So usually, if you make a full set, you'll have enough scraps to make for one of your pets, and then you can just grind out the rest or use parts to make the rest of the scraps that you need. Um, I don't remember if you. I guess that's probably been a thing. I just never really noticed it.
All right, it may have been a world.
So the last monster that we have is actually the flagship monster, the Magnamalo.
Yeah.
It is a pretty dope and cool looking flagship monster. So for World, they had the Nergigante,
Mhm.
which was basically just a goddamn porcupine with devil horns.
Yeah.
And
Yup.
that thing fucking sucked. Nergigante, I can say with confidence that is not that bad, but it still has a lot of the bad behaviors of like because it does blast damage
Right.
instead of that slicing or whatever. So it'll blast around the arena and like launch itself at you. It does like a giant blast beam with its tail, which it's kind of cool because its tail has that three-tipped spear that's like very iconic Japanese, like
Yeah.
The
I was trying to remember.
back
basically like a samurai war trident, basically. Yeah, because the whole thing is it's like they put the Zenogre in samurai armor and then set it on fire.
Yep.
For sure.
Yeah.
It is one of the coolest looking monsters in Monster Hunter, I think. I think this design is just badass. The only thing that keeps it from being higher in my rankings is it's annoying to fight. That is a rough fight.
Yeah. It's almost like if you took the Stygian Zenogre and mixed it with the Nergigante.
Right.
But it didn't attack just as hard, you know? Yeah. So it's very, very interesting. It has a lot of like pretty wild attacks. Sean actually got carded by this several times today.
Oh, several
times.
times.
The hurt is still real. But it didn't stop him and I both from getting the plates every single time we fought it almost.
Damn near.
It was ridiculous.
Time. Yeah,
we weren't even the ones farming it.
Nah,
sorry, Mike.
But yeah, with those being all like sorry, John, you have something for it?
Oh no, I was just to say, did you guys ever get any of the orbs today though?
I got one orb.
I think John did. Yeah.
I think I can't remember what orb. I got an orb from something. It may have been that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
I don't even need it at this point. He's using it to hold his coffee table up.
I don't even need this peasant orb. I don't know. I threw it in my Palico's litter box. You know, or just. But yeah, so with those new monsters, as well as of course returning classics like we've mentioned, the Zenogre's back, the Tigrex, you know, and just it's a very well rounded out monster list, and that's just for now. Like we are getting free updates. The first one being at the end of the month at the time of recording here in the end of April. So they've announced two. The Chameleos is coming back, which I don't think was that one in World? Or was that G?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I do believe it was in World.
Yeah, and we're getting the Apex Rathalos. And then then the other thing they show is they just said add more monsters. So with the classics we already have in, and we know more down the road, not only in this one but future updates. Let's go ahead and go down like some of like what's some of the greatest hits. You know, like what do we want to see added into the game?
Yeah. I mean, just to be an annoying pain in the ass, I'll take all of the subclasses of Tigrex, please and thank you. The most obvious one, and I've been kind of just agreeing with people online about this, I really just hope that they do the Tetsukabra. It's just weird because it fits so well with the style of this game, and it's just strange that they didn't put it in. Yeah. But I mean, it could be a big thing for one of their updates coming up.
And the hub guild chief is sitting on a baby one, decked out in like a Japanese garb. It's adorable. We all love it. So yeah, Tetsukabra is a definite in there. Probably my biggest one, since I got my boy Zenogre already in there, would be the Brachydios. I really would love to see him return. It's a fun boxing pompadoured T-Rex monster. That would be. Always had great armor sets with blast damage, and it's a lot of fun to fight.
Yeah, for
What about
sure.
you, John?
Definitely Brachydios, of course. I'd like to see some of the big turtles again. Honoris, and because I don't really know if we really have any in here besides the Kappa.
I would say Tetrondon's the closest we've gotten.
Yeah.
So, because I always liked those. And I was actually thinking today, I forgot what it's called, but it's like the giant hermit crab.
Oh,
Hermitar.
Yeah, Hermitar, yes.
There's a Daimyo Hermitar and then the Canitar.
Yes.
Yeah, or Shogun Canitar, I think. Yeah. Those were awesome. Yeah,
they're fun.
Yeah, they're just so unique. So.
Yeah, we have like those. Much as I hate fighting it, I feel like it needs to be in ever since it came into Monster Hunter. Is the Kirin.
Oh yeah.
We need our magical unicorn of death. Like I fought it most in World, which I don't know if it debuted in World or not, but that was the first time I really fought it a lot, and it
Yeah.
fucking sucks. But like to me, it's a very important monster. I think that one definitely needs to be added in. I'd also take the uh crap, the mammoth from GU.
Oh, Gammoth. I don't know how you always forget
I
that
know,
name.
right?
It's literally the same word. It's just a G.
Look, man, there's the G. Okay, I get it.
Another one I'd like to see too is some like the bigger fights, like the giant snake. I forgot what that one's called.
But I remember.
But yeah, where it's like going up the tower. It's like a 3-section fight.
Right.
So yeah, some of those really big fights. I'd like to do some more of those.
Was that the Dalamadur?
I believe so. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
And
I believe that was in 4U.
Yeah. Without getting into like spoiler territory, but like kind of the way the last battle is set up, themed fights or like stylized fights like those, I would love to see kind of return too.
Oh yeah.
The the ship battle, you know, in
Darren Morin.
That's kind of fun. Like Rampage, which we didn't even really get into, you know, the tower defense Rampage mode. You know, it's fun and all, and I'm sure as they get more creatures in, they can add little things to it. But I don't know. Like for me, it's not the best. I actually really like those kind of styled hunts a bit more so than Rampage.
John and I are straight up like for some tower defense. So like seeing like more in-depth tower defense like rampages and stuff would be really great.
Yeah, for sure.
But you mentioned Gammoth, and I really feel like since we already have Mitsune in the game, they should just go ahead and add Glavenus. It was such a badass monster. I fucking love it. But also talking flagship monsters, and shame on you, John, for not mentioning it. But,
I know.
Gore Magala.
Absolutely.
They need to add.
Yeah, that is one of my favorite all-time monsters.
Yeah.
Gore Magala is awesome.
It is such a great monster. And like I said, just a lot of those like from World, like two of my favorite from World I think would fit really well in this game is the Palumu and the Odogaron. Like the Odogaron like needs to be in this game. It is 100% something that they'd have.
I remember the Fluffy Bat.
Yeah.
Gotta have Fluffy Bat in there. Remind me who the Odogaron is?
Clifford the big red dog, dude.
Oh,
he did the bleeding and
the flesh hell beast.
Yeah.
Oh no! You leave Freddy Krueger's dog in hell where it belongs. Okay,
and honestly,
I did not
honestly, if we're if we're wanting things that are gonna punish us for no reason, we might as well go ahead and get the Basil Geist in here too.
You are not allowed to utter that thing's name, lest it happen.
Basil Geist.
Don't say
that how it works.
Yeah, no, as frustrating as that creature is, I would love to see an Arise now that we can get up in the air with it.
Oh, right.
Oh, I know, right?
That would add a whole new layer to fucking that thing's world up for all the payback in World.
Yeah.
Especially when he's not even like the target monster.
Yeah.
You're farming a hard ass monster. You're about to get the parts, and he's like, "Oh, it'd be a real shame if someone just bombed the area real quick."
Yup. That's how it rolls. The only thing that I don't want, because also Dodo Gama was awesome in that game. I loved fighting that stupid little thing. But I could leave Nergigante. It could stay in that game. I don't want it.
Right. I mean, I think eventually because a lot of the flagship monsters have become normal monsters. I'd like to see that trend continue. So, I want all the flagships, even Nergigante. I want, let's say, Gore Magala, Lagiacrus, I think was Try's flagship. Yep. No, I like to see, even though I don't want fuck you internet and fuck all you fan pages out there. I don't want underwater fights returning. You can leave that shit. I'll take Lagiacrus back, but I don't want to fight him underwater. I'll keep it like GU where we just fought him on the beach.
Yep. The Celtis and Celtis Queen, I love the gun lance from that. Yeah. So I would like to have that. Just that duo was a really interesting fight in general.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
I would like to actually, now that you say that, I would actually like to see some monsters that work together. You know what I mean? Like that one. Even though it's as simple as like just when they merged together, it became like, at first you fought the Celtus, and then you're like, oh well, there's a queen, and then when they made the transform form of giant fucking monster, it was cool.
Yeah.
And I would like to see, like, even though we have, especially now that we have the open maps, and we have Wyvern riding is a big thing, we have turf wars. What if we actually started getting monsters that have like an alliance?
Oh,
kind
of like how they do Rathalos Rathian stuff.
Yeah, like in World,
and I think Teostra and Lunastra.
Right, and like how like in World, you would go to the nest, you could find the Rathalos and Rathian nest, and like if they detected you up there, they'd both go up there.
Oh yes,
like we got the Gasarag as kind of the blue ogre. We could get like a red version, and they have. I'm not trying to make this game any fucking tougher than it is, but to think of the possibilities of like them actually like just to see some super team up moves. You know what I mean? I think that could add another layer of annoyance as we're trying to farm that damn gem.
Right? It'll definitely be an interesting and terrifying new element.
Yeah, definitely.
But,
thanks for making the game more terrifying.
Hey, you said Beazle guys first, okay? So you started this shit.
I don't know if we really got into it, but the Wyvern riding replaced the monster mounting in this game, and it's a whole new thing that they're doing. That I don't know. I think it's a really cool aspect of the game. What do you guys think?
Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I agree. It's super fun to be able to get on top of a monster and just beat the shit out of other monsters.
Right.
It's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun. It's a great new mechanic. But I would be lying if I said I didn't miss the fun of mounting, though, too.
Right.
Of just leaping down on them and then like holding on for dear life while you're just stabbing at them with your knife, with your carving knife. There was something fun about that, but don't get it wrong. Like I do like miss it, but Wyvern riding is great. It was something I did not like in the demo. When that dropped, I'm like, I'm gonna hate this mechanic. I'm gonna hate everything about the wire bug. Like I'm just gonna play it old school. And then by the time we got into the game, did it a few times, like, oh fuck, this is so much fun.
Yeah.
So, but so we are nearing the end of our time. Let's give like like final thoughts. Anything else y'all kind of want to throw out there?
I mean, for me, I just really love the overall style. I love that they actually took the time to design a bunch of unique armor sets and weapons, because that was one of my biggest things that I was just like not into with World, and it's probably what kicked me out of that game so quick.
Yeah,
is I was just like, not into the look like the same weapon with just a different monster skin just tossed on it instead of a completely different design.
Right.
Which makes sense with how like absolutely gorgeous that game is and everything. But because I guess I had to spend more time on that, and the story of it World was really good. The story for Rise has been phenomenal.
It really has.
It's the rampage aspect of it is really interesting. I do think it's kind of also interesting that they split it back up into village and hub quests instead of having them just both combined like they did in World. But it's cool to have that kind of separation, so there's stuff that you can farm on your own. I can't wait to see the story of it progress with the coming updates and everything.
Sure.
Yeah, it's been really great. What do you got, John?
It's been a lot of fun. I've been really enjoying it. I think it's done a really good mix of stuff from World and then just old school Monster Hunter. So it's meshed them together really well. So,
all right.
But it's just been really fun.
Yeah, this is definitely the most accessible, I would say, Monster Hunter. We said that about World but this is the direction they're going in. I think they realize, like, look, we got our hooks into the hardcore audience. The Monster Hunter fans that have been here since the archaic, some battling with the analog stick for all your weapons, to underwater battles, to just having the quickest way to gather herbs is to make sure you crouch first and then keep hitting the A button. to where we are now. Like if you didn't pick it up with World, pick it up on Rise because Rise, while there's still a learning curve, you're not going to just jump in and be amazing at this game at all. But it's definitely the most accessible. It's as good. Like here's the thing, like World had much better graphics because it was on PS4, Xbox One, and all that, or whatever Xbox weird naming system was for that system. But this game is gorgeous. It may not be as graphically nice, but it's much better designed. The Japanese aesthetic to the monster and armor designs. This is a beautiful game, and maybe my eyes aren't good enough. I don't care about frame rates. I hear people complain about that. The game runs smooth, plays smooth, even with 4 players and 4 doggos. There is I have zero complaints. This is the best Monster Hunter game I've played. And it's not just because it's the newest and shiniest. Because I still go back and play PlayStation 3 games. You know what I mean? If it's quality, it's quality. This one is this is the best one. And not to say like if someone was like, let's go back to the arcade days, let's play some GU on Switch. I'm like, absolutely. But this is the absolute best Monster Hunter game. If you've heard the hype, believe it. And if you got a Switch or a PC sometime next year, give it a try.
Yeah, they knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But that is going to do it for today. We are not paid by Capcom, sadly, but that is our ringing endorsement for their newest venture into the Monster Hunter world. As always, if you like what you heard, like, comment, subscribe, share. You know the drill. Leave us a comment. Let us know if you're playing it. Have you tried new weapons? What do you like about the game? What don't you like about the game? We'd love to hear from y'all, and we'd love to continue to have conversations about this because I'm sure it's going to pop up in more episodes as we play through with all the upcoming stuff. John, thank you for joining us on this, good sir.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
But that's going to do it for today. We're going to catch y'all next time.
Yeah. Peace.
Goodbye.